So with this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the project guidelines, okay, and kind of where you can access all the information, and then the tools that you'll need to be successful, and then we're going to cost out the Caesar salad recipe, okay? We're going to do it all together today. The first thing you need to do is you need to log into Canvas, and you need to access the semester project module. I've moved it up to the second module. I have the recorded lectures first, and then semester project second. So that way you don't have to scroll all the way to the bottom to access this semester project. You're welcome. Okay? So, in this semester project, you have this first document is basically the paper that I gave you that has the guidelines for the project itself. Okay? So that's that first one. The second one is our ingredient list. Okay, that Chef Tech inventory, I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a moment. The RSTO worksheet, that is your costing out. That's what every single recipe is going to have. You're going to have 10 of those. Okay, you'll have 10 recipes by the time you finish this project. Then, don't worry about final calculation sheet yet. We're going to talk about that after spring break. Okay, the main focus right now is costing your recipes out. That's the longest time. That takes the longest time. We are all working off a menu set 4. Okay, so you can open that up and you can download it. If you have your Chef 1300 manual, you already have menu 4 already printed out. Okay, you can use that. It's the same document. And then the group contract and the group project. The group project, that's where you're actually I'm gonna put your actual grade in. And then the contract, we'll talk about that as well. So here we have menu set 4. Now here it looks like you have 8 recipes, okay? Because there's 8 different items. Right. But when I print this out, you'll see that I've highlighted, and so everything that's highlighted is going to have its own recipe sheet. Okay? So even though it's this red snapper Veracruz, the Veracruz sauce is going to have its own recipe sheet. I don't want all that on one recipe. I want it to break it up. So the first little bit will be on one, and the second, the Veracruz sauce will be its own recipe sheet. Okay? That's why there's 10 recipes, because you'll see that there's 10 highlighted recipes throughout the entire menu set. Okay? Questions about that? All right. So now we have the worksheet. Every single one of your 10 recipes is going to have this worksheet completed. Okay. When you turn in the project, you're going to basically have 2 recipes for each, 2 cost out recipes for each recipe. Because remember, each partnership is going to do their own work. Then you're going to collaborate and see, is your recipe off by a few pennies? Is your recipe off by maybe $1, or is it off by $25? Okay. If it's off by $25, we have an issue. If it's off by $1 or $2, it may not be that big of an issue. It's all about how you calculated everything. Okay? So when you turn in this project, which I'm going to have a separate video that I'm going to do that will give you the guidelines of actually submitting the project, you're going to have 2 copies of every recipe, because you'll have your name on one and your partner will have the name on the other. Questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay. Chef Tech inventory. Now, Chef Tech inventory, when you download this document into Excel, okay, you'll see along the bottom here, and I've blown it up a little bit so you can see, along the bottom here, we have the different categories. So we have produce, herbs, spices, meat and seafood, canned and dried, frozen, dairy. The sheet 1 and 2 are blank, so don't worry about those. But that's where you're actually going to see and find the ingredients. So you have to know, if you're looking for chicken, what tab are you looking under?
Meat.
Meat and seafood. If you're looking for pepper, what section are you looking for?
Spices.
Spices, okay? If you're looking for anchovies, where are you looking? It's in the canned and dried, dry, and frozen. Remember, anchovies come in a can. Okay, so you have to kind of have an idea. Now, I'm going to show you a really cool thing that we can do to start looking for something. If you can't find it, there is wonderful feature called Control F. Okay? If you are working on a Mac, it's Command F. But when you work on this, this is the find function. So when we come over here, this find and replace box pops up. I type in the word lettuce, and it goes to exactly where lettuce is on the page. I just hit enter, find next, it goes to the next one. If it says there's nothing, then maybe I'm on the wrong tab. So if I type in the word anchovies, but I'm on produce, it's going to say 0. So then you just click on the next tab and hit search, and it'll go to it. Okay? So this Control F is a huge time saver. Now, these are all in alphabetical order. Okay? So all of these items that are in the Chef Tech inventory, they're in alphabetical order. But if you want to, you can use the Control F. A little like life hack, the Control F works on anything and everything. It works on a web page. It works on an article. So if your professor asks you to read like a 12-page article, they're going to ask you questions about it, but the test is due in like 20 minutes and you don't have time to read 12 pages, you can do Control F and you can find those keywords and it'll jump right to the places in that article where that question is all about. Okay? I mean, I probably shouldn't tell you that as a professor, but it is a huge lifesaver sometimes. All right. So we're good so far on this. So the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need our recipe sheet, okay, our cost out sheet, and we're going to need the Chef Tech inventory list. So here are the steps. I feel like we've gone over this, but we're going to go over it one more time. Okay, so step 1 is copy the recipe as given. So I start with a blank sheet, okay, and I write in. I recommend that you write the recipe, that you don't type it yet. I recommend that you write it first and then type it, okay, because that's what I did with my the video I did last night with my previous class. I had actually typed everything, and today I had to go in and retype, and I had to correct different numbers, and it took me a long time to do that. Okay, so just handwrite it to start off with, and you'll see, I kind of went down below because I needed more spaces. When you type it, because you will type it to turn it in, when you type it, it'll just add rows to it. Okay, questions, comments, concerns so far. Step 1, simple, copy the recipe as given. Romaine lettuce, we need 8 heads. Eggs, we need 5. Dijon mustard, we need 5 ounces. Okay, don't forget to include those units. Then, the really cool part about doing this with typing it is that you can just copy, once you've typed it, you can copy that first column that has all the ingredient names in it and just paste it, and it'll copy it right over to here. So you don't have to retype it on this page, you just copy and paste. The same thing with the amounts. You're going to copy and paste into this column over here, number 3. Okay? So step 2 is copy the ingredients in order. Now when you're handwriting it, you're going to handwrite it over and over again. Okay? Number 3, but that's going to give you extra practice. Step 3 is to copy the amounts needed. Exactly. That's why I don't encourage you to print on double-sided. I know I normally would because I want to save some trees. But in this case, don't print double-sided, so your pages can go side to side and you can write in order. Otherwise, you might forget an ingredient, okay? So you can look at your list side by side. Step number 4 is copy just the recipe units. Just the recipe units. So you can see here, what's my unit for romaine lettuce?
Heads.
Heads, so I wrote heads right there. What's my recipe for eggs?
Egg.
1 egg. Dijon mustard, ounces. You see this, etc., etc. Just the unit. And why do I want to have just the unit?
Because if you put the amount, it'll get changed up. Yeah, or the weights and amount on it.
Okay, so talking about the weights and the amounts, we're going to have to convert some things.
Right.
Okay, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to convert the as purchased, which we're going to put in just a moment. We're trying to convert that as purchased to the cost of 1 recipe unit. To 1 recipe unit. And the reason why we're doing that is because if this column right here where we have recipe unit cost, if that's the cost of one recipe unit, then all we have to do is multiply this column by this column, and it'll equal this column. So our goal is to multiply just straight. This times this equals this. And that way we're just looking at these three. The rest of this, once we're done, the rest of this, we can just hide it. And we're focusing on this times this equals this. Okay? If these units do not match, we cannot do this times this equals this. So that's why we have to get the units to match. Okay? So that fourth step is to just copy the units. Okay? Step 5 is to just copy the as purchased amount and the cost per ingredient. Okay? The as purchased cost. So this is where that Chef Tech inventory comes into play. I look at my Chef Tech inventory and it tells me that lettuce, romaine lettuce, is $2.20 per 1 pound. Okay? So my as purchased cost and my as purchased unit. Now let's look at Dijon mustard for a moment. What does that say? 6-8 ounces. What does that mean?
Oh, 6 to 8 ounces.
Not 6 to 8 ounces. That means there's 6 8-ounce jars in a box. Okay? So it's there's 6 8-ounce jars in a case, what we call a case. Okay? So when things come from Cisco, we're not buying little jars of Dijon mustard. They're going to give us a box that has 6 jars of Dijon mustard. So when you see that 6 8 ounces on that Chef Tech inventory, that's what that means. Okay? You could go ahead if you wanted to. When you're writing this, you could go ahead and write 48 ounces because we know 6 times 8 is 48. You can go ahead and already do that math if you want to. You don't have to put 6 8-ounce jars. I just did that so y'all could see that on the Chef Tech inventory, it's going to say 6 8-ounce jars. Okay? Just like our vegetable oil is 6 1-gallon containers. Okay, so you see at the bottom for vegetable oil, I just put 6 gallons at the very bottom. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions, comments, concerns about this step? Have we done any math yet? No, we haven't. Okay, so now we start doing math. Okay, now the fun really begins. So we're going to calculate the cost of each ingredient. Cost of each ingredient. So do y'all remember this little arrow, AP, and recipe that we talked about at one point? I know it's been a while. We talked about we did the taco, the cost out the cost out the cupcake, right? We do that kind of stuff. AP and recipe. This I want you to draw on every single time you do a recipe, a cost out ingredient, until you get the hang of it. And then even after you get the hang of it, still do it. Okay? This is going to help you. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think the next ones are more in order. So what happens when you kind of rush. Okay? Ignore these numbers for right now. We start with $2.20 per pound. And we are going to 8 heads of lettuce. That's what we need. Okay? So we start our as purchase. We charge $2.20 per pound is what we pay for it. And we're only going to use 8 heads. Do these units match? No. Our units are pounds and heads. Those don't match. So how do we get to what we do? We have to convert in some way. And this is where your critical thinking is going to come into play. Okay? So 1 head, I just did a quick Google search. Hey Google, how much does 1 head of romaine lettuce weigh? And Google says, on average, a romaine head of lettuce weighs 22 ounces. Is that something that I can work with? So you can see now we do 1 head equals 22 ounces. The next one below, I need 8 ounces. I need 8 heads. So if 1 head is 22 ounces, and I need 8 of them, then I need 176 ounces of lettuce. Okay, that's where our conversion comes into play. And now although these units are not the same yet, are they pretty much related at this point?
Yeah.
Ounces are related to pounds. So now we take that 176 ounces. Why do we divide by 16 ounces?
16 ounces of pound.
Because we're going to pounds. So now I need 11 pounds of lettuce. Now do my units match?
Yes.
And so now you can see we need 11 pounds. And we're going to multiply that by our $2.20 per pound, give us $24.20 per amount of lettuce, per 8 heads of lettuce. Okay? They're not all as challenging as this. Some of them are a lot more simple, but some of them do take a little bit of critical thinking to figure out how do I go from pounds to heads of lettuce. Okay? There's this, what we call a book of yields, and a book of yields will tell you about how much different ingredients weigh, or different ingredients, how much you get from different ingredients. Okay? So that one was kind of a little bit tricky. How many of y'all got pretty close to that? $24.20. Awesome. Okay, how many were like way off? How many just didn't do it? I didn't see all the hands go up yet.
I did it that day when you did it.
Yeah, okay, awesome. All right, eggs. First step is draw our arrows. What is our as purchase for eggs? $29.41 for 15 dozen. Okay, so right off of our page, right off of our chef check inventory, do not try, when you're doing that purchase amount and that purchase cost, do not try to convert. Just write it directly from that list. And how much do I need for my recipe? I need 5 eggs. Okay, I need 5 eggs. So now this one is just very simple, kind of like what we did with the breakfast plate. That breakfast plate math that we talked about early in the semester. $29.41 divided by our 15 gives us our $1.96 per dozen. So remember, cost per unit. And what does that per represent? Division. Okay, our cost of $29.41 divided by our unit of 15 dozen gives us our cost for 1 dozen. Do our units match yet? No, we don't. We gotta go one more step further. So now $1.96, which is the cost for our 1 dozen. How many eggs are in a dozen?
12.
So now we divide by 12 and we get our cost of 16 cents per egg. Okay, 16 cents per egg. Do our units match now?
Yeah.
Yes, and so now we can simply multiply 5 eggs times 16 cents each gives me 80 cents. Jill, do you have a question?
Well, I'm getting $28.97 off the sheet, not $29.41.
Okay, so that's a really good question because, let me pause so I don't admit to making a mistake on camera.
Recipes already? Do you have to redo them with the new?
I would prefer it because that's what I'm going to use for my numbers. I'm going to cross out all the, I haven't done menu set 4 yet, and so I'm going to cross them all out as well. So just go through and take a look and see which ones are slightly different. Okay. Yeah, so you might be off. I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway on those ingredients and the total cost of each recipe. I'm not going to say if you don't have my number, then it's completely wrong. I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway. And that's going to come into play a little bit. We'll see the other ingredients. Okay. So 80 cents. If you had 79, that's okay. Dijon mustard. So again, our as purchase was $29.39 for 6 8-ounce jars. And we're going to 5 ounces. Do our units match? We do, right? We have ounces and we have ounces. So now we just gotta get down to the cost of 1 ounce. So $29.39 divided by 48. Y'all see what I did there?
Yeah.
I didn't have to do a step written out of 6 times 8 is 48. I just know that, so I can put that there. And that gives me 61 cents per ounce. Now do my units match? Am I down to the cost of 1 unit?
Yes.
I am. So 5 ounces times 61 is $3.05. Okay. Don't worry if I move on in this video, you can go back and watch it later, okay? That's why we're doing a video. Garlic, this one's kind of tricky. So $4.50 per pound is our as purchased. 9 cloves is our unit. Do our units match? Pound and cloves, they do not. But what we can do is we can Google search. Hey Google, how many cloves are in 1 pound of garlic? And so I showed you this little picture that I grabbed from the website that says a pound of garlic has anywhere between 35 to 50 cloves of garlic. Okay? So, excuse me, 35 to 50 cloves, what number do I use? You could do an average.
35,
Why would you use 35, Randall?
because it's the least amount you need, and the rest is just the extra ingredient you can make off of.
Perfect, exactly. So if I get 35 and I base my cost off of 35 cloves of garlic, what happens if I get a bulb that has 50 cloves of garlic in it?
Jeez.
Then I'll get a little bit more use out of that one. But at least my cost is covered for the 35. Okay? And so if we were to divide this $4.50 by 35, and we're supposed to divide it by 50, which would give us a higher number? The higher number would be our 35 cloves, right? Because that way, if we're going to do that, then if we get a clove of garlic that has 40 cloves in it, or a bulb of garlic that has 40 cloves, then we're going to get a little bit extra more money out of that. It may also be that if we get a bulb of garlic and one has 35 and one has 50, but they're the same size, I may have to use extra garlic, right? I may not be able to get away with 9 cloves. I may have to use 12 or 14 cloves when I'm actually making the recipe to make sure my flavor profile is right. And that's where our Q factor comes into play. Okay, so always when you have this range of things, go with that lower number. That's a kind of a good rule of thumb. So $4.50 divided by 35 cloves, oops, I need to change that when I update this. 35 cloves equals 13 cents per clove. Okay, ignore that ounce for right because I forgot to change that. I will change it before I make it into a video. Then 9 cloves. Do our units match now?
Yes.
Cloves and cloves. So 9 cloves times 13 cents each gives me $1.17. Okay, that's how we can go from pounds to cloves. All right. So $9.17 per gallon of lemon juice. This comes from our Chef Tech inventory list. We need 7.5 ounces. So $9.17 per gallon divided by, why did I do 128 ounces?
That's how many ounces are
That's how many ounces are in a gallon. If you don't know that, you need to memorize that. Okay, so now our units are the same. Okay, our units are now the same. So 7.5 ounces is what we need times 7 cents. Each ounce gives me a total of 53 cents.
I guess because you need so many lemons for that lemon juice.
True. All right. So olive oil. Now Frances, when she did this Chef Tech inventory list, when she first started doing it, she was doing everything like the baking list, where the baking list is everything to the ounce. And I was like, no, don't do that. Don't do my students' work for them. I want you to put all like what you actually buy it for. Yeah, don't roll your eyes at me, Patricia. Okay. So before I got to that point, though, she'd already done this 18 cents per ounce of olive oil. But do our units match? Cups and ounces, we don't. Okay. But here's what we do know. We know that there's 8 ounces in 1 cup, correct?
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
And 1 2/3 cup is 1.667. Okay, 2/3 is 0.6666666666 repeating. Okay, so we know that 1 2/3 cups as a decimal is 1.667. Multiply that by 8, and that means in this 1 2/3 cups, there's 13.34 ounces. If I measured 1 2/3 cups, I would get 13.34 ounces. Okay. You see how that works? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If not, watch the video over and over again. So now, because our units are the same, we've gone from cups to ounces. Now we can do 13.34 ounces times our 18 cents gives us $2.40 for our olive oil. Okay? We're about halfway done. Anchovies. So anchovies, on the Chef Tech inventory list, it gives you two different measurements. One was 15 count and one was in ounces. What is the recipe unit that we need? Each piece, yeah, each fillet, each piece. So when I'm looking at my Chef Tech inventory list, which number should I use? The 15 count. I shouldn't put the weight down there because then I have to do a whole bunch of conversions. But if I use that 15 count because my recipe count is each, it makes it a whole lot easier. And that's why I encourage you to do this little arrow thing on every single recipe. It's going to show you what your starting point is, and it's going to show you where your finish line is. And that's going to help you figure out what you need to do in between to get to the finish line. So in this case, $1.52 divided by 15 gives me 10 cents per fillet. And now I can simply multiply 17 each times 10 cents. That word count is the same thing as each, okay? Count is the same thing as each. That means there's 15 fillets of anchovies in that jar, okay? Parmesan cheese, here's another one that's kind of fun. $6.07 per 8 ounces, and we need 2.5 cups. Do my measurements match? Do my units match? They do not, okay? However, this is not as simple as the lemon juice, okay? This is not as simple as the lemon juice because lemon juice we're measuring in volume. We're measuring liquids. And so 8 ounces of lemon juice equals 1 cup. But 1 cup of Parmesan cheese does not weigh 8 ounces. 1 cup of flour does not weigh 8 ounces. 1 cup of cornmeal does not weigh 8 ounces. So when you're measuring dry ingredients, we have to measure them by weight, okay? We can't measure them by a cup or a tablespoon or a teaspoon. But if we are measuring liquids, that's what we call volume measurements. We can use that 8 ounces of lemon juice is 1 cup of lemon juice. It's a fluid ounce, okay? So when you're talking about a dry ingredient like Parmesan cheese, we cannot just say that Parmesan cheese equals 8 ounces equals 1 cup, okay? So that's why I Googled right here. 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan cheese in ounces, it weighs approximately, 1 cup weighs approximately 3.17 ounces, okay? 3.17 ounces. So now, it's the idea, 1 cup equals 3.17 ounces. How many do I need? I need 2.5 cups. So I take my 2.5 cups times my 3.17, and that gives me 7.93 ounces. So 2 cups of Parmesan cheese weighs 7.93 ounces. Okay? And now do my units match? They do. So $6.07 divided by 8 ounces gives me 76 cents. And now I can simply multiply. 7.93 ounces needed times 76 cents gives me $6.03 per 2.5 cups of grated Parmesan cheese. $6.03. Croutons. This is the only thing that was not on the Chef Tech inventory, and it's because you probably are going to be making croutons yourself. Okay, you probably just take some bread, slice it up into cubes, and then you're gonna make your own croutons. In this case, we're gonna buy our croutons. So this is the only one I got from H-E-B. And H-E-B said $1.25 was for a 5-ounce package of croutons. Okay? And our recipe needs 4 cups. So do our units match?
No.
They do not. So croutons weighs. Croutons, seasoned grams, metric cup, or 1.4 ounces per U.S. cup. So 41 ounces per U.S. cup. Okay? So how many cups do I need?
4.
I need 4. So 4 cups times 1.41 ounces, because this is what equals 1 cup. Y'all see how I'm doing this? How I'm putting this kind of into excuse me, into these formulas. I'm replacing that one. This is the measurement of 1 cup right here. And I need 4 cups. And so now it automatically gives me my weight in ounces. Okay, 5.64 ounces. So if I divide my 125, my cost, by a 5-ounce package, that's 25 cents per ounce, which gives me now $1.41 for cost. Okay, $1.41 per cost. Black pepper, we're on the home stretch here. Okay, black pepper, do our units match? They do not. 84 cents, and we need 5 teaspoons. So I posted today on Canvas a link where you can put in what your volume is, 5 teaspoons, and we want to be precise to 2 decimal places. You hit calculate, and it'll tell you that black pepper is 0.41 of an ounce. 5 teaspoons is 0.41 ounces. That's how much that weighs. So not even a half an ounce. Not even a half an ounce. So if my 5 teaspoons equals 0.41, and I already know that my cost is 84 cents per ounce, now I can just simply multiply. 0.4 ounces times 84 cents per ounce gives me a cost of 34 cents for my pepper. Butter. Butter. $91.80 for 36 pounds. When we buy butter from Cisco, we buy it in a case of 36 1-pound containers. Okay? When y'all go back to the back to pull out a pound of butter, you pound like a package. 1 case is $36. Sorry, it's 36 pounds. It costs us $91 for butter. So what happens when y'all are making croissants and you're not paying attention and you mess up and you waste a pound of butter? That's a $2.55 mistake. Okay? Now, you guys are here at school for a reason, because we don't expect you to know how to make croissants at the first time. You're going to make mistakes. That's why you have lab fees to pay for all these ingredients. Okay? So don't go in there and be like, oh my gosh, I'm a horrible person. I'm wasting the department's money. Don't think like that. That's what you're here for. You're here to learn how to do things. Now, if you're a hotel or hospitality management major, you never have to make croissants. You just don't have to, because it's not in our curriculum. But I encourage you to learn how to. It's really fun. So anyways, so $91.80 divided by 36 pounds gives me $2.55 per pound. $2.55 per pound divided by 16. Why 16? 16 ounces in a pound. Thank you. That's 16 cents an ounce. So 7 ounces now times 16 gives me $1.12 for my cost for butter. Garlic. We've already done garlic, right? So we already know that garlic is 13 cents a clove. So we can just copy and paste what we did up there and bring that 13 cents per clove down to the bottom part of the recipe, the cost out sheet, and we already know 4 cloves is 52 cents. Okay, you guys see how that works? Awesome. Salt. Same thing, I typed in salt, I searched for salt, and it came back that 5 teaspoons of salt is equal to 1.89 ounces. Right down here on the bottom. 5 teaspoons equals 1.89 ounces. 5 teaspoons of pepper was not even a half an ounce. So this is a perfect example of why our volume measurements are different when it comes to weight. Okay? Now, so 4 cents for our salt. 1.89 ounces times our 2 cents each gives us 4 cents. Vegetable oil, last one. Okay, last one. We're 35 minutes in. Whew, I know. Vegetable oil, $50.16 per gallon, per 6 gallons. And we need 1 2/3 cups. Now this is interesting. Okay, when we did a gallon of lemon juice, what unit did we go to? Ounces. Do we have to go to ounces here? No, we don't.
No.
We're going to cups. So you see, this is why doing this little arrow right here is going to help you figure out how to get from point A to point B. Yes, there's 128 ounces in there's 128 ounces in 1 gallon of olive oil or vegetable oil, but there's also 16 cups. So don't give yourself more work than you need. Is what I'm trying to say. We know it's $8.36 for a gallon of vegetable oil, so we can divide that by 16 cups to get us our price per cup. And then in this case, we're multiplying 1.66 cups, that's 1 2/3 cups, times the cost of 52 cents per cup. Okay, so don't just assume, oh, I'm going from gallons, I have to go down to ounces. If you draw this little roadmap here as purchased to recipe, you can stop yourself from overthinking and doing too much math. I know how much y'all just love to do math. Okay. So in this case, you can just divide by 16 cups. That's your cost per cup. And now our units do match. And so now we can simply just multiply. All right, so 87 cents is our vegetable oil. So now, step number 7. Step 6 is a long step. Okay. Now, not all the ingredients have, all the recipes have this number of ingredients. Some of them have 5 ingredients. Some of them have, 10 ingredients, whatever. So step 7 is you gotta add the total cost of each ingredient. So that last far column, we add up all of those and we get $44.18. Okay, $44.18, that's our subtotal. Step 8 is to apply our 5% Q factor. Every recipe is going to have a 5% Q factor, which means we need to increase by 5%. What does that Q factor cover? Daniel. Okay, not quite. So yes, our Q factor could be that if we're talking about producing a large amount, yes. But since we're talking about one recipe, think of it on a much smaller scale.
Overserving.
So if we overserve,
Burn something.
substitutions. Now if we burn something,
We have to remake it.
that $2 is probably not going to cover a whole lot.
Yeah.
But if I need to add extra salt, if for whatever reason I need to add extra pepper, I need to add extra garlic, that Q factor, that $2.21 is going to cover if I have to add any extra ingredients beyond what I've already cost out. Okay? So how do we get that 5%? $44.18. So our subtotal times 0.05, and that gives me $2.21. Okay? Step number 9. Now I need to determine my cost per portion. So y'all are lucky. How many portions are every single one of these recipes? 32 per portions. So we take our cost of $46.39 and we divide that by our 32 portions. We get $1.45. $1.45 to create that Caesar salad. Okay, now let's talk about presentation. Take a look. Step 10 is to type all of your documents. Look at how different this handwritten looks to the typed. Which one looks professional? Good answer. Okay. Does it take a little bit extra longer?
Yeah.
Yes, it absolutely does. Okay. But it looks more professional. And think about when you go into a kitchen, how much easier, how hard is it for you to read my handwriting? Very hard. Thank you. Okay. I pride myself on that. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. That's my handwriting. But when it's typed, it's a lot easier to see. Okay. It's a lot easier to read. It's a lot easier to interpret. Now, one thing I did do, if you notice, what was our original measurement for lettuce? 8 heads. But when I retyped it, I went ahead and put 11 pounds. That way I don't have to convert it again later. If I want to use this recipe and I want to have, I don't know, if I want to serve 50 people, I don't have to convert 8 heads and then convert it back to pounds. I automatically have the weights that I need. Okay? So like lettuce was pounds, garlic I already put into cloves. So you can see that you can change those. That's why if you handwrite it first, then you can scratch anything out and then change it. And then look at this one. Holy cow. Handwritten here compared to the typed version here. Now you can see here this blue mark, that's where I marked it at 8 heads and I put 11 pounds. Okay? So I changed my recipe and then you can put it in there as you type it in. Okay? Type all your documents. Any questions, comments, or concerns about this? No? Okay, so this is going to take some time, okay? What I recommend is, during spring break, for you to turn your brains off. Don't do any homework. You have no homework for this class. I don't know what your other professors have. I don't know how mean they are. But you have no homework for this class over spring break. If you want to work on recipes, that's on you. Don't blame me, okay? But you go home, turn your brain off, and on Monday, when we come back from spring break, on Monday, rewatch this video, okay? Rewatch the video. Follow along with if you need to stop and hit pause so you can fill in the blanks, and I kind of went through pretty quickly. Now here's what I want to see. Listen up real quick, please. I still have 10 minutes. I will post this in a separate video of like how I want you to present your project. I want you to show your work for everything. Okay? You already have to do it. So I want to see your work. When you turn your project in, you're going to turn in the recipe, and behind that is going to be all your work. Nice and neat, labeled with each recipe, like each ingredient like we did today. Okay? And then that way, if you're pulling an ingredient off of HEB.com, or if you're pulling an ingredient, or if you Google search something as far as a weight, how much does this weigh, and I calculate it one way, but you pull it off of a website and you calculate it a different way, if your number is way off, it's not the same as mine, if I see your work, then I will give you credit for that. So I'm not going to ask you to be exactly to the answer that I have. Now, if you're telling me that your filet mignon costs $2 a pound, I'm not eating that filet mignon, okay? If you tell me that your carrots are $85 a pound, that's ridiculous, okay? So something is off, okay? Something is off a little bit. So you have to kind of take that into consideration, okay? I'm not going to say just because you show me your work, I'm going to give you credit. It still has to make sense. But if your number is off by 50 cents to $1 from mine, especially in this right here, this recipe, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 ingredients. If each of your ingredients were off by 2 cents, that's almost 30 cents, right? So at the end, it's going to be off a little bit. So I'm going to take that into consideration when I'm grading your projects. But that's why we have you in partnerships, so that you can compare your recipes with each other. And then you can say, well, mine came out as $56 and yours came out as $85. Why is that different? And then you go through line by line and figure out which ingredients are off by a little bit or a whole lot. Okay, so that's how this project is going to work overall. Like I said, I will do a separate video that will give you examples of exactly how I want your project to be turned in and in what order. Because I have, there's what, 30 of y'all in this class? That means I have 15 projects plus 15 in my other class. So I have 30 projects to grade of 10 recipes each. It's going to take me some time to do that. And so I want to make sure that everything's in the right order so I can just sit down and grade and be in the right mindset. Any questions, comments, concerns? Yes, sir.